Introduction. In this unhinged comedic murder mystery, set in a whimsical, mysterious world, the Queen of Hearts has invited her subjects to a tea party in her secluded garden. But when her nephew is found dead, it's up to the Mad Hatter to solve the crime. With suspects ranging from the Queen herself to the White Rabbit, the Hatter must find the killer before it's too late. Imagine a world where talking animals rule the land. A world where tea parties are held in mysterious gardens, and murder is always just around the corner. Solve the mystery with beloved characters from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, like the Queen of Hearts, a tyrannical ruler who is quick to anger and even quicker to order someone's head to be cut off. Or the White Rabbit, a nervous wreck always late for everything. And the Cheshire Cat, a mysterious creature who seems to know more about the murder than anyone else. The world of Jack of Spades will have you laughing out loud one moment and gasping in suspense the next. Silhouette Press, an imprint of Lighthouse Theatre Dramatic Publishing Company, proudly presents Jack of Spades, a 10-minute play, written by Will Waltermeyer and edited by Lily Ulrich. So, without further ado, the curtain rises. At Rise. The Mad Hatter is working in the background, setting up a tea party in a mysterious garden. Upstage there's a garden, dark and overcome by vines. It looked like it was once well loved, but something has happened and it has now fallen into disrepair. Downstage is the Queen's throne. At the center is a table for the tea party, still in the dark. Scene 1. As the Mad Hatter sets for tea, the Queen of Hearts is spotlighted on her throne, reading a letter she has written.
Greetings, my loyal subjects. It's my pleasure to invite you to my visiting nephew's invite-only tea party. Attendance is mandatory unless you want to be headless. And I hope that you will adorn your best attire. Although some strange happenings have been seen about this land, I assure you that we are completely fine. Tales of kidnapping, socio-economic collapse and unpredictable poisonings for no apparent reason are all simply rumors. Delusions, really. Nothing to get in a tizzy about. It is my duty as Queen to make sure that you are oblivious to these complex matters, because if you don't think about it, then it simply doesn't exist. In addition, I can guarantee that this tea party will be completely fine, and nobody will lose their head. Well, that is if everything goes to plan. Signed, your supreme and benevolent leader, the Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts seals the envelope and throws it off stage carelessly. In the background, the King of Hearts moves her throne to the central seat of the table and then exits. The Mad Hatter picks it up and enters the stage. He then walks to the Cheshire Cat and hands them the envelope.
From the Queen, I see. A tea party invitation, if I'm not mistaken. It seems to be very exclusive. I know the chef, and I hear the tea is to die for.
The Mad Hatter hands the Cheshire Cat the envelope.
How exciting. And at the Queen's garden. Invite only. How flattering. Will I see you there, Monsieur Hatter?
Monsieur. I'm not French. And my last name isn't Hatter. That's just my profession. As for the invitation, I wasn't so lucky to get one. My soon-to-be fiancée did, however. I plan to propose in about 10 minutes.
What a shame. Well, I see you everywhere.
Okay? Just be safe. I would urge you to be as far away as possible from that clearing for the next few days. You've heard the stories, I'm sure.
How befuddling. Quite delicious, don't you think?
Ignoring her, the Mad Hatter scurries off stage. Scene 2. The Cheshire Cat is left on stage alone and walks to the center where the tea party has been prepared. The Queen of Hearts, King of Hearts, and Jack of Spades enter and take seats at the table. The Queen of Hearts is in a good mood, but the King is unenthusiastic.
What a lovely day for a tea party. Don't you think so, Francis?
I suppose, dear. It looks cloudy, though. I'd hate for it to rain. And you know, I need to have a fitting with the Hatter. Then we might have to go home, instead of sitting in this miserable garden. Wouldn't that be a shame?
We will do nothing of that sort. You're spending too much time with that Hatter. He's not married to you. I am. I should always be your number one priority at all times. And you wouldn't dare do something without my permission. There would be consequences.
Now the Cheshire Cat interjects, adding their dash of chaos into the mix.
Well, if you left, it would be more interesting. There's nothing better than a catastrophic tea party.
Who said anything about a catastrophe? I was just talking about the rain.
Well, things happen. The Mad Hatter warned me about some peculiar happenings. Something terribly tragic and dangerous could be lurking just around the bend.
Have you heard from the Hatter recently? He told me he was busy, and I haven't seen him in a while.
Enough of this nonsense. We must begin the tea party. Where is Rabbit? She's late.
The White Rabbit hurries on stage.
My queen. I'm so sorry.
You are 17.456 seconds late. We're almost done with this ridiculously short play. If I hadn't given this tea party my no-murder guarantee, you would be beheaded by now.
In an attempt to stop the Queen from beheading everyone, the Jack of Spades asks the Queen to remain calm.
Let's settle down, Aunt Boomquifa.
How dare you use my given name? I ought to just murder everyone.
Please, please. This is my welcome tea party, remember? You all were kind enough to put this all together, just for me. And even though I don't understand why my aunt invited all of you disgusting peasant slugs, I'm so happy that I'm here.
I'm not so happy that I'm here.
Well, at least you got an invitation. The Hatter seemed quite infuriated at being left out.
All of this complaining is going to give me a headache. We cannot call this tea party off under any circumstances. My nephew traveled all the way here from the dreary kingdom of South Dakota, where nothing interesting ever happens. We owe it to him to make sure this party is the most memorable experience of his life. Pete. And the rental of this secluded forest clearing is getting very expensive. Airbnb prices are through the roof, what with the inflation I caused.
Can we move this along, please? I don't understand why the Jack of Spades is more important than the rest of my schedule.
Everyone starts bickering. The Jack of Spades is anxious.
Everybody. Quiet.
Blackout. During this blackout, we hear coughing and choking noises. There is a scream. When the lights come up, the Jack of Spades is sprawled across the stage, dead.
Who did this? How upsetting. I might just behead all of you in my despair. We must get to the bottom of this. We must call the Mad Hatter. He owns a fedora and therefore must be a great detective.
The Mad Hatter enters.
Good day, my queen. How may I be of service?
My, what a quick response time.
Oh, well, I just happened to be right around the bend when I heard all this screaming. What seems to be the problem?
Look at him. Dead. Would you care for tea?
No. That's very expensive. Now, which one of you murdered the Jack of Spades? And at his special tea party, no less. You should be ashamed.
You know what? Why don't we just call off the investigation? It seems like such a hassle for everyone.
This is great fun and all, but you're quite a busy hat maker.
Ignatius, I'm sure you have better things to be doing.
I have quite a busy schedule.
Nobody is leaving until we know who the murderer is.
Things are getting spicy up in here. Muy caliente, if you know what I mean.
The White Rabbit is a prime suspect.
You tell him, sweetheart.
But so is everyone else. We all heard the Cheshire Cat going on and on about how exciting a catastrophe would be. And now we've got one. Having fun yet?
How redonkulous. No. Murder isn't entertainment.
The Cheshire Cat takes a significant fourth wall break, acknowledging the irony of her statement.
But this is quite thrilling. Please go on.
Every single one of you is a suspect. The Queen has always had murderous tendencies. The Hare wanted an excuse to finish up quickly. The King would do anything to shut down this whole tea party and go play croquet, and you are erratic, bizarre, and unpredictable.
Why, thank you. You're just too kind.
You were also the one who was talking about all of the strange occurrences in this land. And there's nothing more exciting to you than a heavy dose of paranoia.
How very complexicated. You, Alfonso, are quite the inspectigator.
My name is not Alfonso.
It's actually Ignatius.
Are you sure? He looks like an Alfonso. Something about the hair.
She's spewing rubbish. Enough. Off with her head.
Now, dear, let's take a moment too.
I shall not be stifled.
Madam, you ought to listen to the king, especially one with such piercing eyes.
I will not be silenced. Not any more.
I think we're getting a bit off track. Can we stick to the schedule? Or maybe I can just leave.
Nobody leaves.
Ooh. Oui picante. Get it, honey. I'm eating this stuff up, no crumbs left.
Shut it before I have to gag you.
Y'all are always ruining my fun. How exasperating.
Now the murderer is still at large and at this table. Don't let your guard down. These are dark times.
How wearisome. Why don't we just finish this tea party already? I didn't overtax the peasants to buy all this imported tea for us to pour it into a river.
Good idea. You know, raspberry hibiscus infused oolong isn't cheap.
The Queen of Hearts sniffs the tea loudly.
What a delightful aroma. I'm getting flavor notes of tax evasion, gasp, or maybe poison. My favorite.
The Queen of Hearts takes a long, drawn-out sip of tea, then blackout. The Queen starts coughing violently. She gasps, then goes limp. The White Rabbit screams for a prolonged amount of time. The King looks aghast. The Cheshire Cat looks very entertained. When the White Rabbit stops wailing, the Cheshire Cat speaks.
HM. How peculiar. Would anyone like more muffins?
How dare you speak so offhandedly about the Queen's murder? This isn't peculiar, it's very serious.
My God. Hold your ponies. Don't you start getting all aggressive with me. Plus, I wasn't calling the murder itself peculiar, I was just surprised. I never expected him to be the murderer. But now it all makes so much sense.
What do you mean?
Don't you realize? Are you all complete idiots? Never mind, that's a dumb question. No offense, Your Majesty. Can't you see that the murderer has been hiding in plain sight this entire time? Someone lurking just around the bend? Someone bitter, almost as bitter as that poison tea, and with a motive? Someone you would never expect. Someone who made a deadly mistake? Someone who mentioned the location of this clearing to me, even though the invitation details were highly confidential? Or perhaps someone who knew the flavor of the tea, even though he wasn't even invited.
All gasp. The White Rabbit faints dramatically onto the floor. The Mad Hatter, who has been in the shadows until now, steps out.
Thank you so much for that enlightening little analysis. Very educational. Now I'd better be on my way. Let's go, my dear Watson.
Excuse me.
You're excused. Thank you for using your manners.
You can't leave. You're a murderer. I feel so betrayed. I've never seen this side of you. You're always so compassionate and caring, but now you're malicious and manipulative. I'm done. This is over.
You have no proof that I murdered anyone. I just did you a favor.
What about the cat? She's a witness. I thought you were going to get rid of my wife when there wasn't anyone around. It's impossible to find a reliable assassin nowadays.
Oh, please. That delusional feline won't be the most reliable witness. And anyway, you're the king now, and you would never press charges on me, would you? After everything we've been through together. And now that your toxic, manipulative wife is dead.
What's that supposed to mean? Oh my. How delightful. You brilliant, beautiful man. Does this mean what I think it means?
With your wife and little pretentious nephew gone, we won't have to keep us a secret anymore. Will you marry me and rule our land together?
Yes. But wait. Why did you also have to poison the Jack of Spades? I didn't think pretentiousness was a crime punishable by death.
My mother always told me that to pursue your happiness and great achievement comes with great sacrifice.
Oh wow. That's so poetic.
Turns out that he was the sacrifice. It is a shame though. What a waste of good eyebrows.
Indeed. Those eyebrows will forever be remembered deep in our hearts.
They observe a short moment of silence. Then the Hatter and King run off happily, holding hands.
Moral of the story: never let them know your next move.
The White Rabbit wakes up, looks around, and notices what has happened.
Oh my. This is new.
She stares in shock for a second, sighs, and then checks her watch.
Huh. You know what? I'm just gonna pretend that nothing happened. I don't have time for all that legal business. I've got places to be.
And so everyone lived happily ever after. And I officiated their wedding. Isn't that just splendid?
End of play. Notes. One aspect of the Cheshire Cat's vocabulary is their wacky tendency to use unusual portmanteaus. Words like catastrophic plus cataclysmic, exasperating, exhausting plus exasperating, inspectigator, investigator plus inspector, infuriated, irritated plus infuriated, befuddling, baffling plus befuddling, and complexicated, complex plus complicated, are combinations between words with similar sounds and meanings. The author Lewis Carroll invented the word portmanteau in the sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass, 1871. In the book, Humpty Dumpty explains how he makes up new words. For example, he combines slimy and lithe to make slithy, which means both slimy and flexible. He also combines miserable and flimsy to make mimsy, which means both unhappy and weak. All the pieces featured in this volume were originally published in separate collections, available for download on the Lighthouse Theatre website. Jack of Spades, copyright 2023 by William Waltermeyer and Lily Ulrich, Lighthouse Theatre, Dramatic Publishing Company, is licensed under CC by SAW 4.0. For more information on licensing and copyright, consult the PDF accompanying this audiobook. About the author, Will Waltermeyer. Will Waltermeyer has been performing, writing, directing, and choreographing theater for as long as he can remember. After his first production in 2017, he's been captivated by the creative possibilities that theater offers to the world. After writing a monologue in a theater course, he was instantly intrigued and decided to keep writing monologues for fun. But he wanted to share his work, so Lighthouse Theatre Dramatic Publishing Company was born, a place for art to be shared for everyone, no strings attached. About the editor, Lily Ulrich. Lily Ulrich is a dancer and creative genius. She's been dancing for her entire life and has made a name for herself in all of the reaches of performing arts. She's been a part of Lighthouse Theatre Dramatic Publishing Company since the very beginning, committed to transforming amazing ideas into even more amazing final products. Tales from the Oracle was inspired by her original idea, and she served as a creative consultant throughout the entire writing process. Lily Ulrich would like to thank the famous The Caportney, an inspirational figure who navigates life with finesse and a loud personality. This concludes Jack of Spades. We hope you enjoyed listening, and we hope you visit our website to learn more about how to bring this script to life on stage. Thank you.